my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Koller, a couple that loves to play board games.
And unicorns and rainbows.
Poop!
If you're new to our channel, hit that subscribe button and follow along our journey. Today we're doing a What's the Merit for
Somewhere Under the Rainbow.
Now this 2 to 4 player game is designed by Lara, Koller and Kiwook, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah! It's such a silly game, but I love it.
So in this game, what you're trying to do is collect unicorn droppings, get glitter cubes by collecting them, the various sets, exchange them for ingredients, and then feed the unicorn. So it's essentially a circle of life with a unicorn at the center. And the person with the most tasty points at the end
wins!
So this game is quite beautiful. The production is honestly out of this world.
Yeah, it's stunning. I mean, you look at this and then you instantly, especially after we just explained to you the theme of this game, like, I would never guess that this is about
Unicorn
droppings. Now let's take a quick look at how to play the game.
Well, in order to win, you gotta get the most tasty points. And how you do that is either through the recipes of food that you make, through this rainbow maker, the tokens, or sometimes the mystery boxes as well. Now this game will be played over 4 rounds, with each round being as long as it takes to fill this little poop holder with all 6 different colors. And order doesn't matter here.
But there can only be 1 clump of each color in the column.
Now on your turn, you'll do one of 2 things. Number 1,
pick up poop! So basically, you have these little bug characters that you'll play with, and then you'll move them. So the important thing with the bugs is you can only move in a straight line with the arrow that's indicated on their little character. The other thing that's really important about moving your character is that height is sight. So if you can't see over it, you can't move past it. Then you'll take this fancy little plunger and take your poop piece and put it onto your storage board.
which you can only hold 4 of.
Exactly. The important thing here is if you ever have 4, the one closest to the arrow here, so you have to stack this way, it disappears.
But it has to go back on to the grid.
Yeah, and then you drop it back onto the grid.
As you move. And you can drop it along your path as long as it's not higher than 3.
Exactly.
The one last thing for the grid movement is at the end of your turn, once you've collected your dropping, you have to select the direction you will move the turn afterwards. So that creates some
planning ahead.
Now the second action you can take is visit the village. And you have to do one of these 3 things if you end up visiting the village. Number 1. Go to the rainbow maker.
Yay.
So if you have 2 unicorn droppings of 1 color, you can drop them in as long as that color has not been dropped in that round quite yet. And then in exchange, you get the glorious glitter cubes. And there's 3 different kinds.
Yeah,
it's
red,
all
blue,
random.
and yellow.
Oh, I only drew red and yellow. Unfortunate. Now the other 2 things you can do is you can visit the market or get some food.
Yay!
Now when you visit the market, you can buy one of the 3 laid out ingredients that'll be on the table. And they cost various glitter cubes. Oh, these are all blue. And different colors as well, so you'll have to collect those. You can also get a mystery box, which costs 1 of each color, and sometimes it gives you points, sometimes it lets you do fun things. And last but not least, you can get the rainbow milk. Now the rainbow milk cleanses your palate, and why that's important is because when you buy food, by spending the ingredients you acquire from the market, you have to buy adjacent to the color that you've already bought. So if you bought a red one in the beginning, you have to get either a purple or an orange. You can't just go from red to green. That'd be silly.
Unicorns don't like that.
Yeah, but if you get some rainbow milk, you can cleanse your palate and do that. So that's where a little bit of tricky planning comes to play. But if you do one of those 3 actions, that can be your second move.
The other thing that we would note is that you don't have to just put 2 in here. If you have up to 4 in your storage of the same color, you can put all 4 in there and get even more glitter cubes, because the value increases the more you're able to put in.
So you'll keep playing until you've played 4 rounds. After each round is over, you end up
Dumping the rainbow.
Emptying the rainbow maker, and then this will matter at the end of the game because the person who has the most of each of the food will get the leftover rainbow droppings, which will be additional points.
Yay! Points.
Yay, tasty points. Will you be the one who feeds the unicorn the most glorious meal? So let's talk about memorability.
Yay! Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is this amazing little Nerf dart. Is what I'm gonna call it.
It's a toilet plunger.
Yeah, it's actually a toilet plunger is what the component is called. But it's so cute because it's like, yeah, it's basically a Nerf dart that you just use to pick up these tiles and then put them onto your board. I love it. This is so cool. I've never seen this before.
It's very efficient, actually.
Yeah.
Like it works almost like 9 out of 10 times.
It feels so cool too, and it's so satisfying to hear the little pop. So yeah, that is the first thing I will mention.
Well, I think overall the components are just beautiful. Like
Yeah.
even these glitter or these unicorn droppings, they're all just so magical. The whole game is very magical.
Mm-hmm.
What's really neat too is in the grid you'll be moving your little bug, and it's really tricky the direction that they can move because after you move you get to set the direction it can go next time. And I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this. But in doing so, you can actually block your opponents and have a little bit of slight take that, where you just compete for the unicorn droppings.
Because you can only store so many droppings in your bug hive, is what I'll call it. So yeah, if you force somebody to collect a token that they don't need, then they might end up discarding one that they do need.
Mwahaha.
And then the last one that I really want to touch base on is the gift cards. So basically what you can do is, like we said before, is you'll be going through buying all of these things and creating all these recipes. However, there are these things called gifts that you can buy right here that you get to keep hidden from everybody. And they've got like different abilities that really change the game and add this like random interaction to it. And I think it's very fun because some of them are like beneficial for you, some of them are like, oh, I'm gonna mess somebody else up by changing the direction of their character or XYZ, but it's a very nice way to be like, hey, if you don't have enough money for everything or you have extra money left over, why not buy a surprise gift so you can use it later on?
Spend all those glitter cubes. Now let's talk about education. So one of my favorite elements of this game is the grid movement because it's very unique and I don't think I've seen anything triangular like this before. Where, so you move, because your little animal bug is a triangle, you move to the dropping you want to collect, but you can't move higher than where you're standing. So as there's 3 layers, and as the layers decrease, it becomes more difficult to collect the ones you want. But the really tricky element is once you do collect the dropping that you do want, you have to arrange your bug for the next round. And there's directions you can face, and sometimes it just doesn't work the way you need it to work. And I like to call myself pretty good at spatial awareness, but I've been struggling with this grid movement, which makes me really excited to dive in and play this game more and really get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's cool because like Ilya said, is you pick how you want to change the direction, but sometimes like if you want one tile of one color, say red, you actually can skip over that one red to plan ahead to your next move and actually go to like a red that's farther away, because you can create lines in this triangle that help you collect other things. And then also like you have to be wary of where everybody else is going too. So that kind of leads to my point, is I think that there is a lot of timing and forward thinking in this game where you've got to be like, I know that these things need to happen and I know I need to collect these items, but then what's that person over there doing? You really have to make sure you're looking at everybody's boards, because if they're collecting green and you're like a blank slate, you probably don't want to start collecting green, or maybe you do, to sneakily stop them from being able to put their own green tiles into the column. So it's kind of neat because it's like this give and take where you really have to, in my opinion, you really have to adapt, I guess. Which I guess is probably a good
good segue to my point is adaptability. But yeah, the player interaction is really interesting here because you are racing to collect certain colors. So if Tyler, for example, gets green early on, it's a bit of a waste for me to hold on to the green and wait to the whole next round because especially if it's early on, it's really tough. And if I do see someone collecting green, you can try to get your green earlier and waste their move. So there's a really interesting amount of adaptability between you and the players that you have to pay attention for. And I really like that element because it creates a lot of excitement and a lot of, oh no,
I goofed.
So now should we talk about replayability?
We should talk about replayability.
Replayability.
So with Somewhere Under the Rainbow, it's pretty replayable. There's a lot of randomness that can go into it. This, for example, which is very satisfying to set up, by the way, the tiles get randomly shaken basically into this box. So you'll never know, it'll never be set up so you can play the same game every time. You also have different cards that come up. You have a stack load of ingredients that come up. So you really have to, every game you kind of adjust to that. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And of course, like you can play this with multiple different people. With 2 people, for sure, like there's definitely like, I know what Ilya's going for, so I'm gonna do this. And we can like veer away from each other, or we can go head to head. Depends on how we feel. But with more players, you have that more interaction amongst each other and more to pay attention to.
Yeah. The resource collection here is a bit random, so you have 3 types of resources that you draw from. And based on what you get, you can buy different ingredients. And that element makes it really interesting because you will be adapting to different colors. And because what you've bought, you have to buy the adjacent. It makes the game really interesting and definitely makes you come back and try to get all the colors because the more colors that you have to compete for, the more points you'll score at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really memorable. But overall, what makes this game honestly quite replayable is that it just leaves a really good impression. The production quality, the unique little plunger aspect of it, even like the silly art and the bugs, the illustrations in this game are incredible. Like your player boards have like their own even world that you can dive into and be like, what is going on in that hive and what is happening there? So it really leaves you coming back for more. And the food is unique. All the food is so interesting and it's a little bit silly and you just want to dive into that unicorn world.
This is a popcorn with popcorn people that have eyes and mouths. It's so cute.
I think we jumped a little ahead because I think we're talking about the imagination in this game.
Yes, probably.
Let's dive into it. Let's talk about it.
Well, obviously the theme here, and like we've kind of been saying, is it's just like very unique, very different from anything, and the story is very apparent. Oh no, dogs!
Our dogs have begun to play each other. They're best friends. Imagination.
Yeah, we got a bit ahead of ourselves. So basically, we'll just keep going.
Exactly.
They've just got like these very cute ingredients that make these very cute desserts or like any type of food. Like, look, this turnip, I think it is. It's laying there in that like paint me like one of your French girls thing.
And then it becomes an omelet.
Yeah, it's so hilarious and
really
I love it.
And I really like the circle of life element in here. You have this unicorn that's dropping these droppings around in this magical place. And you're collecting them to get glitter cubes, to get more resources to feed the unicorn so it leaves more droppings. I really like, it's just such a silly but inviting theme. Yeah. And yeah, the art in this game is just outstanding.
Yeah, it really like brightens up your day and it's just so colorful because you're traveling in a rainbow. And unicorns, well, they're pretty awesome here.
I was a little bit sketched out at first and like unicorn droppings. I don't know if this is going to be a game for me, but I love it and I'm into the unicorn droppings. That came out weird.
Yes. Last but not least, let's talk about the target for this game.
Well, this game has a nice mix of mechanics. There's a little bit of set collection, a little bit of grid movement, and it is fairly easy to grasp. It's because there's only two things you can do is collect and go to the market. It's not an overly complex game in my opinion. So it is something you can introduce to your family, your friends, and anyone who's willing to dive into this unicorn dropping world.
Yeah, and like to that point, the unicorn dropping world, like the game is, in my opinion, it's gonna sound weird, but it's very inviting because of the fact that it's about unicorn droppings. But it really, like, if you tell somebody, you say, hey, like, let's play Somewhere Under the Rainbow, it's about unicorn droppings. And they're like, what? Okay. Like, they're, in my opinion, that's an immediate piece where I'm, like, intrigued by it.
And
like,
look at
I don't
this
care what it is, I'll try it.
The table presence is unreal.
Yeah. So it's just, that silly, goofy theme, like, really has something going for it.
And that is Somewhere Under the Rainbow! Tickle Bear Games did such an incredible job with this game. Check out the Kickstarter project down below. Learn more about the game, the intricacies, the rule books, all the fun, different elements. And thank you so much for watching today.
Until next time, we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.